The child gave ground again and tripped when she backed against the side of the pool. She let out a short scream and tumbled backward over the edge. The sunglasses flew off when she hit the grass. He kept coming. Inside the house, the woman placed the phone back on its cradle and glanced out the window in time to watch her daughter sprawl by the pool. Her first thought was, leaving that backyard was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. Her following thought was, I'll kill him. He was centered in the small pool when the back door flew open and the woman bolted into the yard. A 9-foot bullwhip was coiled in her right hand. On the other side of the barbed wire fence, a pickup truck was bumping its way across the pasture, raising a thick cloud of dust. The driver saw the woman closing on her adversary and pressed harder on the accelerator, punishing himself and the truck, rushing to get to the drama unfurling by the pool. I told you I'd take your hide off if you came back over here. The woman gave her wrist a practiced roll and played out the bullwhip. Well, big boy, I meant it. The interloper fixed deep brown eyes on her as she approached. If her threat generated any fear, his expression didn't show it. Before she could get close enough to use the whip, the pickup skidded to a stop on the far side of the fence. Morris Irwin jumped out of the truck into the follow-on dust cloud, already yelling, Just hang on, Millie, I'll take care of this. The cowboy was leaning into the truck, reaching for the gun rack. The woman heard the words but chose to ignore them. She was fed up. When the dog got up and nosed the screen door open, the man gathered up his Bible and newspaper and followed him onto the front porch. The dog paused on his way to the steps and stretched thoroughly. The tilt of the sun said it was mid-afternoon. The hound's sense of timing said the boy should be at the house in just a minute or two. In the southwest corner of the sky, a line of thunderstorms was using the day's warm temperature, expanding rapidly, gathering height, building energy. The instrument of intervention Irwin was grappling for was trapped between the truck's gun rack and the man's haste, held captive by its leather strap. Adrenaline laced the man's system, and panic colored his anticipation of what might happen if he was too late. The red-bone hound was getting gray around his eyes and muzzle, but his ears still worked. The dog was shambling toward the porch steps when the sharp report, weak but clear, came to him. He changed direction and moved to the north end of the porch, sniffing at the air coming from across the pasture. He cocked his head, trying to classify the faint explosion that didn't belong in the warm afternoon. When the woman's whip cracked, the unexpected explosion lifted the adrenaline-charged cowboy off the ground and caused him to smack his head on the pickup's door frame. The blow dazed him and knocked his straw hat to the dust at his feet. He was a tangled knot of frustration, sweat, and profanity when he heard the whistle swish that told him the whip was moving again. The black man, whose ears were older than the dog's, studied the area where the dog's nose was pointed and saw nothing but trees, grass, chickens, and guinea hens. What are you smelling at, boy? The dog moaned in response to the question, and squared himself to the north, leaning forward slightly. While the man watched, the hound cast his nose back and forth across the warm breeze and looked perplexed. The dozens of easily categorized smells the dog picked up did little to explain the harsh sound he'd heard. When the answer to the dog's quest continued to elude him, he decided he had more important things to attend to. Instead of shrugging, he snorted to clear the uninteresting information from his nostrils and padded down the steps. He wanted to be standing by the car when the boy stepped out. The man lingered long enough to give the land on the other side of the trees a final inspection, then took a seat in one of the rocking chairs. The whip cracked again before Irwin could get backed out of the truck. "Dadgummit, Millie!" the cowboy yelled over his shoulder. "I told you I'd handle him. If you cut him, he can't work." Irwin won the tug-of-war with the gun rack and freed the looped end of a long hickory cane in time to turn and watch one of the best bucking bulls in the world sag to his knees in the wading pool. Stretching out wasn't as easy, and the animal's attempt was not unlike trying to load a ton of hamburger into a shopping cart. Before the bull could get fully reclined, the pool's perimeter collapsed